Your journey can only begin when the self-doubts stop. The first step is harnessing your bravery within. Believing in you is your host, Sean Williams. Good day to you all. My name is Sean, and I'd like to thank you for tuning into another weight loss episode of Bravery Within. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys are amazing out there. Love hearing from you guys. You guys are doing a fantastic job about getting back with me and telling me what you like and what you don't like about the podcast. So I've been trying to make a little adjustments and stuff here so that way you guys continue to enjoy it. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel there. It's growing. We're getting more people to listen to it all the time. And because of you guys doing all that, it makes it easier for us to extend our family out there. You guys are all my extended family, and I do all of this to try to help you guys out and hopefully make things a little bit better for you. That's why I've got 5 different series on my YouTube page there. Hopefully there's something in there that you like. So, well, today for the weight loss episode and stuff, I thought I would do something a little bit different. I get a lot of questions about my own willpower, about how I get myself through things, how I see things, how I do things, why I do things the way I do, is probably one of the bigger questions that I get all the time. And I don't get tired of the questions. I love talking and trying to help because there might be something that I've gone through that can help you through and make your own weight loss journey just a little bit easier. So, episode 32 today is just called Willpower. And I wanted to let you know stuff there. When I started out my weight loss journey 22 months ago, my willpower on a meter of 0 having none, 10 being max where I could walk away from anything, I was about a minus 12. I had 0 willpower, not gonna lie. And I had to develop it actually pretty quick if I was gonna try to stay on my weight loss journey. And let me tell you, that is something that just didn't happen overnight. People continuously ask me, well, how do you get your willpower? To be honest, I don't know if I have a perfect answer to that question. Mainly because I don't know if it's just my sheer determination of wanting to do this, or if it's because I'm a Taurus and I'm so bullheaded and stubborn that once I set my mind to something, nothing really deters me. So it could be a combination of both. Honestly, I'm not quite sure. I would like to be able to answer that question definitively, but I haven't been able to in the almost 2 years I've been on my weight loss journey. And I thought today would be something, I'm hoping this will be helpful because it took me probably before I could start counting on my willpower to walk away. I'll bet it was 6-8 months before I went from a minus 12 where I started and finally got myself up to a 3 or a 4 on that meter. And I figure if I can get myself up to a 5, that's halfway there. I should be able to walk away from half the stuff that I was doing. Now, like I said, there was a total of 3 times in the first 6 months that I chucked my whole day out the window and just went crazy with the calories and the starch and the sugars and everything else. And the first 2, like I said, as I said in one of the episodes, the first one, I just went hog wild and ate a bunch of calories, and then I felt guilty, and then it was downhill after that. But I stuck to my journey. I got back onto it the next day, and away I went. And then it was about 2 weeks later, and then I hit another rough patch, but I didn't eat as much then. I was starting to gain a little bit of ground on not liking all that stuff in my body. And the third time was about the 6-month mark. And that's the one I told you I bought $40-some worth of fast food, and I ate about half a double cheeseburger, and the rest of it just went away because my willpower is there. And I honestly believe that you basically, for a lack of better words, I don't know how else to put this, you got to have a cheat day once in a while. And I'm not saying that you go out, that doesn't mean that you go out and have 7 or 8, 9, 10,000 calories, not by any means. A cheat day is something as simple as you might reward yourself with a small dessert or, a couple extra 100 calories of something. For me, that'd be like an extra cheesy brat because those are about 200 calories each. And I know it sounds funny and you're probably thinking, Sean, that's not a cheat day. But when you go like I do and you keep yourself so restricted back, something as simple as that extra cheesy brat or I might have a little extra of my Danish or something like that there, actually does go a long ways. Now don't get me wrong. When I first started out on my weight loss journey, I would have thought, and I did think, I was like, how can that be a cheat day? How can that be rewarding yourself? And I'm sure you're sitting out there while you're listening to this podcast, you're thinking, that's exactly my question. The thing that I learned, and take into account this didn't happen right away. It probably took up to probably the first year, if I'm to put some sort of an estimate of time on it, before those little things actually started to be my cheat day rewards. And even like when you go to the ice cream shop, and hopefully I don't get in trouble for this, but Dairy Queen has blizzards. They're wonderful. I love that place. Oh my goodness, their food is fantastic. This is not a plug for them. I don't get anything from them. But what I'm saying is, what I'm leading to is, I used to get the largest of the blizzards and love them, just absolutely love them. And I still love blizzards, don't get me wrong. The ice cream is a hard one for me to walk away from. Even with everything that I've done, and even as strong as I am, and my willpower now being at a 10, it took me almost 2 years to get it there, but I still have trouble going by that place. I love that place. But now, thank goodness that they were thinking ahead before I started my weight loss journey. They had these mini blizzards. And surprisingly, if you would have asked me when I first started out on my journey, you thought, okay, you just have one of those little things and you'd be happy, I would have laughed for 20 minutes at you, saying there is no conceivable possible way that could be way too much for me to eat. And I have to admit, I think it was 3 weeks ago, I was out on a Friday night with my family, and I stopped by and got some of those amazing blizzards for my family because I wanted to treat them a little bit, because they're so wonderful about not eating any of the bad stuff in front of me. And we used to always have desserts on our Friday nights after we come back, and we haven't been doing that mainly because we're trying to be better. So I feel guilty because I think it's mostly my fault because I can't eat this stuff anymore. I mean, I can, but I can't. I mean, when you start your own journey, you'll understand that conundrum. But I wanted to treat them to something, and I got myself just a little blizzard, and lo and behold, I couldn't even get through it. It was so chocolatey, and I mean, it had heath and fudge and and everything. It was like I was having a weak moment. I needed some chocolate. I needed something sweet, and I stopped by and get it. And I think I had, I don't know, 4 or 5 bites out of it, and I was done. And I look at everybody and go, I have become such a wimp when it comes to the sweet stuff. And they're all right. You just don't eat it all the time, and you just a little bit is enough. So what that taught me is, like I've said in other episodes, you have to indulge the cravings from time to time. Now, granted, I probably took in 100, 150 calories there between those little scoops, and a lot of sugar. But the problem is I have almost no sugar in my diet anymore. I keep it really, really restricted down. If it wasn't for my Mountain Dew, I probably wouldn't hardly have any. I'd probably almost be at 0. So you have to still have those. And the thing that shocked me the most is while I was having that amazing little piece of heaven is I never thought I'd ever get to the day to where those small little containers of pure bliss would fill me up. Because I used to have larges, and they wouldn't even fill me up. I was like, okay, I can have another one. And I would ask for extra hot fudge or extra marshmallow cream or extra candy pieces in it or anything like that there. And the more I go on in my weight loss journey, like I said, I'm in month 22. The more I go on in my journey, the more is like, I don't even know how my body processed that. I don't even know how I was able to handle it. And it still continues to shock me. So by doing those little things, it helps my willpower and determination. Like I said, I went from a -12 on the meter up to the positive 10 as high as you can get. Yes, I can walk past goodies. I can walk past food. I can, is it easy for me? No, of course not. It's never going to be easy because it's like, oh my goodness, those cookies look good, or those brownies look good, or something there. And it's like, I'm playing the long game. And sure, you could, when you're playing the long game, if you have a few extra calories here or a few extra calories there, you're probably not going to notice it in the long game. In the short game, you would, because that's what a diet is the short game. This is my weight loss journey, which is the long game. And yes, could I treat myself a little bit more? Yes, I probably could. But the problem is, the more I treat myself, the more my willpower meter goes down. And the last thing that I want to do now is derail my entire journey by just having something sweet and wonderful. And I know what I can and can't handle, and I have to take responsibility for what I eat and the calories I put in my body, because I have to work those off. I know that sounds funny, but you have to be responsible for what you eat, the calories, the salt, the grease, and everything else, because it's your body. What's going in, you have to burn that off. You have to get that back off. And I know everybody says, oh, it's just one cookie, or oh, it's just one brownie. Well, yeah, you're right, it is, but I'm the one that has to take that weight back off. So if I start digging into those, my willpower is going to go down. I'm going to be back down to that -12. I'm going to gain, 300 pounds plus back again. And honestly, if I do that part, then I'm never going to make it. I'm sure my heart would explode, because I'm sure I was on borderline of, having a heart attack. I mean, I either had 2 severe panic attacks or 2 mild heart attacks. I don't know. I didn't go see the doctor, and sorry, doctors, but when you don't, don't get along with them, you just kind of, okay, I'll just keep pushing myself along and hopefully everything holds. But what I wanted to do was, in preparation for this episode, I wanted to get the actual definition from a medical website of what is willpower, because I thought it was kind of cool, because as I was snooping around and trying to do research for this, I found all kinds of different, this is pretty much the best way of, they've got 5 ways of explaining it, 5 definitions of it. And I want to bring them up, so I'm just going to read it the way I found it off of. And this comes from the American Psychological Association website. Thank you very much for allowing me to share this. I just wanted to make sure I give you props there, because I was looking through your guys' website, and there's a lot of good information on there. I was blown away. But I wanted to, this is how they define it. Now, I'm just going to read this right off the screen, so it's going to sound scripted, because it is. So, we have many common names for willpower: determination, drive, resolve, self-discipline, and self-control. But psychologists characterize willpower and or self-control in more specific ways. According to most psychological scientists, willpower can be defined as 1. The ability to delay gratification, resisting short-term temptations in order to meet long-term goals. 2. The capacity to override an unwanted thought, feeling, or impulse. 3. The ability to employ a cool cognitive system of behavior rather than the hot emotional system. 4. Conscious, effortful regulation of the self by the self. And the last one, a limited resource capable of being depleted. When I read through that, the first one is the one that hit me the most, especially with the weight loss that you and I are doing, all of you out there that are doing. The ability to delay gratification, resisting short-term temptations in order to meet a long-term goal. And to me, that was awesome. Now, I found quite a few different pages out there where people say willpower and determination have no say over weight loss. And I don't mean to go against people out there, because everybody has their own opinions, and that's fine. But in my thoughts, in my opinion, it has a significant role in weight loss. I mean, if you can't walk by, let's be honest, if you can't walk by the table and pass up the cookies or the brownies or anything like that, and you just constantly eat them, you're not doing yourself any justice. You're gaining the weight, and you have no willpower, and you have no determination, because the determination is what also helps pull you through to the end. And if I didn't have a lot of determination to get to the finish line and get this fat off of my body, then there's no way I'm going to make it. I have to understand this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to do to get the weight off, so I feel better, I protect my health, I protect my mental well-being, and I'm there for my family. So yes, you have to be able to walk away. You have to be able to, when you're sitting down for supper and knowing that, okay, you got 600 calories left, that's all you eat. And yes, you're going to sit there and you may think, oh, well, just an extra couple scoops isn't going to hurt anything. Well, actually it does, because remember, those couples of scoops do build up over time, and it's going to slow down your weight loss. And we all know, and we all want this weight off overnight. I do. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I do. I mean, I wish I could just snap my finger and boom, there it is. It's all off. Wow, I'm skinny, got Vin Diesel arms and, huge chest. And, I mean, let's be honest here, but it doesn't work that way. And trust me, if I had the ability to snap my fingers and make you thin, boom, I would do it in a second to help you. So we didn't have to go through this. But I know it doesn't work that way, and science doesn't have a magic pill out there that's going to instantly take the weight off. So you have to basically start telling yourself, okay, I have to be stronger. Yeah, there's been many times, especially like I said, it took 4 or 5 months for my body to detoxify from everything that I was putting in it. All the junk food, the pop, the fast food, the just regular food, just not basically cooking it correctly, not cutting back when I should have only had 500 calories and I have 5,000 calories for supper. And it's not, I mean, fast food gets a bad name, but they're not forcing you to eat it, not by any ways. I mean, I went through drive-through just freely. Nobody was holding a gun to my head, and I bought a bunch of food. So I had to learn, and let me tell you, it was the first 6 months was brutal. Trying to get my willpower up, get my determination was there, and that's what pulled me along until my willpower kicked in and helped out. I think they work hand in hand to help you get through, because sometimes your determination may take a little bit of a hit because you've had a bad day, stressful, when you wanted to go home and just basically eat your feelings. Determination is going to take a hit, but your willpower will say, no, okay, here's these chips. We're not supposed to have these chips. We don't want these chips. We want them, but we're not going to eat them. And that's where the willpower comes in to say no. So you put them back, and hopefully you don't have chips in the house tempting you. I don't, because I know that if I had a bag of chips, they'd be gone. You just have to be smart about your journey. You just have to figure out what your triggers are and figure out, okay, we got to remove those so I can continue on with my weight loss journey. This losing weight is difficult. I mean, it is probably one of the toughest things that I've ever done in my entire life. Now, let me tell you, it does get easier as you go along. It's never going to be fully easy. It's never going to, maybe on a factor of when you start out on 0 being the easiest you can get and 10 being the hardest you can get, we all start at 10. Because really we don't want to, because we know we're going to be restricting stuff back. We're going to be taking away food and all the good stuff, all the carbs that we absolutely love. We're going to be limiting those, and nobody wants to do that. I mean, free will says you can eat all you want. Well, my waistline said otherwise, and not getting through the door anymore. I was going to have to put a roll-up garage door on my front door if I had gained any more weight to get my big rumpus through the darn thing. So all that did was just get me in trouble. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we can't do this anymore. And okay, we got to make changes. And I made changes. And like I said, it probably took 6 months before my willpower got up to full power, maybe even a year before I could actually walk away and say, no, I don't need that. Because when you have, all kinds of sweet treats in the break room, and, I sit right by the break room, so you smell all the foods and you smell lunches, and it's just brutal. I mean, it just constantly tests your determination to get to the finish line. It's tough, but it really comes down, to me, it comes down to one single question. And I know I've brought this up before, but to me, it's a huge question. And it comes down to, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to take that weight off? And to me, that is what's probably one of the biggest motivators, besides, of course, my family, my son, being there for him. But you have to, when you're losing weight, you have to lose the weight for yourself. Yes, they're good motivators, but the reasoning can't be them fully. It has to be for you. You have to be able to pull yourself through. And that's where the determination comes in. And for determination to work, you got to have willpower to be able to walk away and say, no, I don't want that. I don't need that. Do I want to scarf that whole, bag of tater chips down? Absolutely. It would be fantastic. I miss, my sour cream and onion ones and the cheesy ones and all that stuff. I do miss some of those. But one thing that I just always have running through my head, I mean, we all have that rah, 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 have that extra cookie, rah, 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 have those brownies. We all have that running through our head. But the one thing that I've learned is the question, how bad do I want it, constantly is running through my head. That's what everything is based off of, is how bad do I want it? And that is a question that I had to ask myself right in the beginning. The first day that was the question that I asked. That is what initially triggered me doing my weight loss journey, was how bad do I want? How bad do I want this fat off of my body? How bad do I want to be able to walk around in my yard and not sound like I'm dying because I'm breathing so hard to get through there, or steps, or anything like that? I mean, that's the question that really motivates me, is how bad do I want it? Yes, I would like to be able to buy smaller clothes. I am tired of not being able to go into a store that I have here in town and be able to buy something off the rack. I haven't been able to do that in a very long time. And there's a lot of neat stuff that's in that store I would absolutely love to buy. And I am so very close, and I probably could now. I mean, I've lost over 220 pounds. I'm down 5 pant sizes, working on my 6th one right now. Down 3 shirt sizes. So I'm starting to get into the area now of I can start buying off the rack. And to me, that's it's a huge motivator for me, is being able to do that. I mean, I don't like clothes shopping, don't get me wrong. I don't like shopping at all. I just think it stinks. But there's still something to be said about, I would absolutely love to be able to buy a shirt off the rack that looks cool, instead of buying one because it fits and you don't even like it. You know, you may not like the colors, you may not like the pattern, you may not like the fabric, or something like that. But the problem is you don't have any clothes because you're so fat. And it's like, fine, it fits. I want something different. I need something different because all my other clothes don't fit anymore, or I ruined them, or I dripped, burger grease on them, or something, something there. You ruin shirts all the time because of it. So you buy whatever is available. And I'm really, really tired of buying what's available, I'll be honest. So it all comes back to determination and willpower. I mean, that's just really the way I see it. And it may not be the best way of looking at it, but like I said, you have to do it for you. And you have to, if there was something that I wish, there was probably 2 things I wish I would have done when I started my weight loss journey that I did not. Like I said, I didn't do anything but throw all the bad food out, and just basically say, okay, I'm starting on my weight loss, I'm done. And off I went. I jumped off the cliff and I did it. And there's probably 2 things that I wish I would have done before I would have got started there. I mean, one of them, and I hate pictures, don't get me wrong. I cannot stand to have my picture taken. But I wish I would have taken a beginning picture of myself. And I've seen this so many times on different weight loss websites and different things, and they say it's a great motivator. And I didn't think so because, I still don't like the way I look. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm slowly getting there, little by little. But I wish I would have had something to compare now to then to. And I don't. I mean, mainly because I always hid from the cameras. I always stayed away. I did whatever I could to make sure that my picture wasn't taken, mainly because you needed a wide angle lens to get me into it. And it's like, no, I don't like the way I look. I don't feel comfortable. I don't, it's just like, okay, no, don't take any more pictures. But I wish I would have something like that to compare myself to. And I'm sure if I dig far enough in I got thousands and thousands of pictures on my computer, I'm sure I probably could have found something. But I don't right off there. I mean, a lot of people will stand there and take a picture showing where they're at currently, so then they have something to compare down the road. So I wish I would have had that at least to compare myself to. And the other one, probably, if I had had a choice, is I wish I would have had, and there isn't one, I'd have probably had to go to the doctor, and I'm not big on going to the doctor, would have been a beginning a pound amount of where I started. I've got a real close number where I started. I'm pretty much dialed into where I was, and I knew it was at, and when I started out, I was close to 600 pounds. And I know that, but it would have been nice to have a definitive number. But to me, it really does. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't. The picture one, I kind of wish I had, so that way there's some sort of comparison to see how far you've come. But the weight one isn't really. I mean, it is nice, But to me, it's not going to matter until I can look in the mirror and not be disgusted at what's looking back at me, until I get the fat off, and then I can buy the clothes that I want. Then I'll consider that I've won and I've crossed the finish line. But until I get to that point, I have to, just keep pushing on. I have to be determined. I have to be resolute on getting to the finish line. I have to take responsibility for everything that I eat, everything that I do, everything that I think. Because thinking, how many times have you just sat there and thinking, gee, wow, I could go for 16 double cheeseburgers and a large fry, and your thinking can get you in trouble because you're kind of hoping for it, you're kind of wishing for it, and it's kind of and sooner or later that craving is going to win, unfortunately, but you just can't give in to it. That's where the willpower comes in, to basically say, okay, we're not going to do this. We're going to get through this one way or another. And like I said, it's not easy. Everybody asks me, how do you get it? Because I can walk by most places and not dig into it. Now, it would be fantastic to go into a pizza place and get a whole large, meat lovers pizza and scarf it down, or go, buy a taco stand and get some tacos and stuff. It's just, desserts, of course, are wonderful. I miss my lemon meringue pie. But I also know that if I don't restrict those back and stay strong and resolute, I'm not going to get to the finish line. And like I said, I have to take responsibility for all of that stuff going into my body. I didn't before. That's why I was over 300 pounds overweight. And now I am taking responsibility for it. And luckily, I have a wonderful support structure and a family that backs me up on everything. And if I say, nope, I'm not having this, they don't push. They say, okay, absolutely. They're really, really good about, making sure, okay, if we're going to eat out, let's try to eat out to the best of our ability, to get the best food so you don't blow everything out of the water. So typically when I go out, I'll have steak and eggs, something like that, because that's all protein. I'm still eating out and I'm still enjoying a nice supper with my family, but I'm not blowing everything out of the water. Would I absolutely love to have chicken Alfredo? Oh my goodness sakes, yes. And a ton of bread and all the free breadsticks that you get at this one place. It's oh man, I could just go for that crazy right now. But I know if I was to walk into that place, my willpower would go back to -12. I literally could not walk away. I would have to just scarf everything down, and then I would throw I'd probably eat enough calories for about 4 days worth of food, and then I would feel guilty, and then the depression would kick in, and then you run the risk of, okay, well, am I just going to chuck this all out the window and be done? So that's one of my triggers, and I know that's a trigger, so I have to stay away from it, because I don't even have my willpower at a 10, as much as you can possibly have. I know I'm setting myself up for failure by walking into a place like that, because I'm good, but I'm only so strong, and I've been told many, many times that I'm one of the strongest people have ever known. But there's limits to everybody's strength. That's just what it comes down to. There's limits to my willpower. There's limits to my resolve, my determination, everything. Everybody has limits. That's just the way it is. So it's best not to tempt them and test it. So I try to stay away from that as much as I possibly can. Would I absolutely love to go in there? Oh my goodness, yes. And I have played around with the idea a little bit of making that like my celebratory meal when I get to the weight that I'm shooting for, which I'm hoping by next summer to pretty much be there. I may not be 100%, but that's my goal. I gave myself 2 years to take off the weight. I'm not going to make that goal of 2 years. I have to adjust my time frame. But if you consider that I'll be down probably 240, 250 in pounds in 2 years, that's incredible. Really, if you figure it out, that's scary. So even if you did 250 and you did it for 125, for basically a whole year, if you split it in half, and then if you divide that by week, that's 2.5 pounds a week. That is a lot of weight. And I know you're sitting there thinking, well, wait a minute, that's not really a lot of weight. If you look at it on a small scale, no. But if you're looking long term, like what I do, that's an incredible amount of weight, and that's what you have to see when you're doing this. You have to start seeing those little wins. But to take 2 or 3 pounds off a week is incredible. They recommend only a pound or two a week, basically is where they recommend to see you keep it off. They don't recommend going any more than 5, and then you're starting to put your health at risk if you go. And I know in the beginning I was probably losing 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 pounds a week because I had so much fat on me that I needed to get it off. And all I did was just start this and just restrict my diet. So I don't recommend taking that much off all the time, not in any way, shape, or form. Do this healthy, and just know remember you have to play the long game on this one. This isn't some, even if you're only losing 30, 40 pounds, you still have to play the long game, just for the fact of okay, you lose that weight, you do fantastic, you bring your calories up to where you maintain. Even maintaining, you still have a tendency to lose because your body, because you're going to be pushing hard and everything else. But if you don't play the long game, all that weight's going to come back again. So you have to figure out a happy medium and where you can, basically where can you live with this weight loss journey? Where do you feel comfortable? And you just can't lie to yourself. I mean, that's one thing that I would tell myself in the other diets that I was on. Yeah, it's no big deal. I can only have like 2 double cheeseburgers or 1 double cheeseburger. It's no problem. And then I would have 7. I lied to myself. I set goals that were absolutely impossible to maintain. So when I was digging through this, and I heard about this shortly after I started losing weight. And there's an acronym that I've seen many, many times that are out there, and I think it's really, really good. It's called SMART goals. And it really helped me because it kind of helped put me, it's like, okay, now I see this from a little bit different vantage point. And I'm not sure who come up with this, to be honest, otherwise I would credit them for that. I apologize for that. I just saw this, on one of the medical sites, and I'm not quite sure, who come up with it, so I apologize. But SMART goals. S is for specific. M is for measurable. A is for achievable. R is for realistic. T is time-based. And what all of this means is goals, be specific in your goals. You could say, and which is fine, say, okay, ultimately I want to lose 100 pounds, just throwing numbers out there. But realistically, the R, I might only be able to lose 50 because my body will only allow for that. So you have to be smart about this. And one thing that I started to is I keep myself within an allotted calorie range and I don't overindulge. That is a specific and measurable goal. It's achievable because I do it all the time. It's realistic, and it's also time-based because it's every day. I will walk around my work for 30 minutes per day. And that's another specific and measurable one by putting that goal in there. Now I know I can achieve it. That's the one. Probably the achievable and the realistic are the 2 most powerful ones of that goal in my book. You have to be able to achieve your goal. You have to be realistic. If you know that, okay, well, I need to lose, just using numbers, I need to lose 25 pounds in 2 days, that's not realistic. Nobody can do that. I don't know of any way that you could do that. So you have to be realistic. I'm going to lose 25 pounds in 2 months. Because that's achievable and that's realistic. That's 12 pounds roughly 12 pounds per month. You break that down by 4, that's 3 pounds a week. In the beginning, you're going to lose a ton of weight because a lot of it's water weight right out of the shotgun. Normally you lose 8, 10 pounds, just boom, right out of there because it's water weight. So it makes it realistic. But you have to be honest with yourself. Like another one, I will not have more than 1 can of soda pop per day. And and some days I don't even have that. I mean, I get my refill, I get my fountain pop, and I maybe drink half at the most. And it's a 32 ounce, so that's 16 ounce. Most of your cans are 12 ounce. So I have a little bit, and most of the time I don't even have half. Most of the time I have like a quarter of it. I just like the fountain pops better than the cans. But that's my own thing. But I have to have that to maintain my migraines, to try to keep them in line. And that's what I use, so I know I have to build around it. But that's my goal, is I don't have more than 1 can of pop a day. Another one that I set that's measurable is I will drop a pant size every 3 months. That's realistic. I mean, basically, in men, and I think it works for the same for the ladies. I think, don't quote me on that one there. But I know for men, for every size, if you go from a 42 to a 46 using numbers, you put 2 inches on your waistline. And that's the way it works, is in 2-inch increments. 46 to 48, 48 to 50, everything's 2-inch increments. So to me, to do a pant size, that's taking 2 inches off the mid-range every 3 months. And that's very doable. And if I don't hit it, so then I just move it a little bit. But I don't do an all or nothing thought to this entire process where, okay, I hit this goal. I didn't hit the goal within 3 months and drop another pant size. It took me 3.5 months to hit it. And to me, that's not a failure. That's the first thing you've got to learn, is that's not a failure. It just took a little bit longer. You need to be proud of yourself. You still hit your goal. It just took a little bit longer than what you were planning on. So next time you can set a more realistic goal. So maybe it'll be a pant size every 4 months to put yourself out there. So that way, if you get it in 3.5 months, then you're under your goal. It'll make you feel good instead of being stressed out because you missed it by 2 weeks. But being specific about which goals you want, that's something I wish I would have wrote down. It's okay. Well, there's a third thing I wish that I wish I'd have done before I started my weight loss journey. Is I wish I would have wrote down specific goals of where I wanted to be. I have them now. I know what I'm up against and where I'm trying to get myself to. So when you hit those goals and you hit those marks, those are huge. You have to celebrate those. As long as they're realistic goals. I mean, let's be, like I said, I want to lose 25 pounds in 2 days. I don't know of any way that you can do that. That's not realistic. That's not achievable. That's nothing. It's specific and it's measurable. You know you're not going to hit it, but it's not achievable and it's not realistic. Let's be honest. So setting up goals is mandatory. I mean, it's not just for weight loss that I have goals. I have goals for finance-wise, where I want to be job-wise, where I want to be in my life in 5 years, all of that stuff. Goals are very, very crucial to have because it gives you something to shoot for. And I've hit most of my goals. I have never hit 100% of all my goals. It's just, and to be honest, I set some that were just unrealistic, so I never hit them. But something like this here helps me to keep stretching out and okay, well, I hit this goal. What's the new goal? Okay, I took off 10 pounds this month. Okay, what's next month goal? We're going to keep it at 10 pounds because it's working. And I mean, when you start setting those up, and if you see that, okay, well, I took off 14 pounds 1 month before and 13 pounds next month, maybe shoot it up to 15 to push yourself a little bit more. The trick is to basically, switch things up so your body's a little bit confused, and so you don't get into a solid routine. Because once you get into a routine, then your body doesn't, it just gets locked in, and then it just isn't going to try harder. But if you keep switching things up where, okay, this week I might have an extra 100 calories, next week I might go under 100 calories. Or I might have something different in the food area to burn things, or I might, just whatever it is, you just switch it. And it doesn't have to be much. Just enough to keep things moved around a little bit, to keep your body confused so it doesn't get stuck in a routine, makes a huge difference. So then I thought, okay, well, if I'm doing that, and I wanted to talk to you guys about, the realistic goals, and make sure, I'm going to say it again, celebrate all the little wins along the way. Absolutely reward yourself. That is huge because you are working hard. You are doing something incredible with your life by losing the weight, losing the fat, and make sure you celebrate all the little wins along the way. I do. And I know my family goes, no, you don't. I do. There is. I might treat myself to something, or I might buy myself something, whatever it is, or I might, go for an extra drive, or whatever it is. I just find out something is like, hey, this would be cool because I hit this goal. I'm going to treat myself to this. And what that does is when you celebrate the little wins along the way, it's going to help your willpower out, and it's going to help your determination because you hit the goals, and sometimes you surpass them, and that's going to make you feel fantastic. There's nothing wrong with putting your goals a little under in the beginning for me because it helped motivate me right away. I set easy goals in the beginning. I didn't do it right away. It probably took me 6 months, 8 months, maybe even 10 months before I started doing goals, and I wish I would have done them a little bit sooner. I think it would have helped a little bit more. I mean, I'm not complaining about all I've lost and how far I've come, but I think it would have, helped motivate me just a little bit more. But I think I'm doing okay on my own. I'm cruising right along. But celebrate the little wins. I can't stress that enough. Make sure you reward yourself. Buy yourself a new song or a shirt or, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a lot. But treat yourself to something knowing that, if you get a shirt that's smaller, wear it and be proud. It's like, hey, I couldn't have fit in this before. Like I told you with in the last episode and stuff there, I mean, I got back into my Green Bay jersey that I haven't been able to be in for, I think, 10 years. because I was so fat that I couldn't get into it anymore. And now I'm back into it. And that's the rewards. It's like, hey, I'm doing good. I've come so very far. I didn't think I'd get this far, but it's incredible. So what I wanted to do to basically close out the podcast, I'm watching the clock. Can you believe this? I wanted to find some different ways that I do to basically help motivate myself, and I'm hoping maybe these will help you a little bit. It's completely up to you. But the first thing is that I learned right away is set small goals. To get yourself motivated, to get yourself moving, you need to set up small, manageable goals. And make it just something as simple as I'm going to lose a pound a week. And you're probably thinking, Sean, that ain't much. Let me tell you this. When you start getting going and you start seeing that weight come off, you are going to feel so fantastic. A pound, that's still 52 pounds a year. Remember, we're playing the long game. You can't judge, because everybody judges, it's just a pound. You're playing the short game and you say it that way. The way you should say is, I lost a pound this week, or I lost 2 pounds this week. That's fantastic. Set small goals. That's what I started doing, and it made a huge difference on me being able to attain them. And once you get going and you get rolling along, you can set higher goals. You have small goals and then set out, large goals of, okay, we all know, okay, yeah, I want to take off 237 pounds. Okay, well, that's the long goal. We all know that isn't going to be achieved until you hit the finish line. You have to have wins along the way. So that way it keeps you going, keeps you into it, keeps you motivated. It'll help your willpower, your determination, and your resolve. It'll help you all the way along there to have just the small goals. Have realistic expectations like we talked about. I'm not going to say too much on that, but that's what helped me, was having realistic expectations. But the one thing that, if there's another thing that when I was sitting down, and it was probably the first thing that I come up with, and we've talked about this many times, and I want to reiterate on it again. Determine why you want to lose the weight. Why is it so important to you? Write this down and make it clear. Keep it posted somewhere. I have notes in my phone and on my computer and stuff there. If I start to basically slide a little bit, then I'll go in there and I'll look at those goals and say, and the reasons why I wanted to lose the weight. I'm not going to go into the reasons why I'm losing the weight because they may not match up with yours. I want you to set up your own reasons for losing weight. And to me, it helps me basically stay the game, stay the course, to continue to lose weight, and it helps keep me motivated. It helps my willpower. And whatever the reason is, make sure the first thing, the first reason is for yourself. You're doing it for yourself. I can't stress that enough. You don't want to do it for anybody else. You need to do it for yourself. That is crucial for losing weight. If that's the number one thing that I could tell you to put on your reason why you want to do it, is you're doing it for yourself. Don't do it for somebody else. Don't say, okay, well, I'm going to lose all this weight so I can get that cute guy or that cute girl or whatever it is. Do it for yourself. Do it to make yourself happy, and make it all about, it makes it sound like you're a narcissist, but you're doing it for yourself. And you're not a narcissist, you're not self-centered, nothing. You're doing it for yourself, and that's a fantastic reason. And that's what I keep telling myself. That is the primary reason why I want to lose weight. Another one that I basically come up with is, and I'm not saying my way is the best way. Not at all. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, find a weight loss plan that fits your lifestyle. There's all kinds of different plans out there, and there's a lot of good ones. I'm not disputing that. A lot of them are just diets. They're gonna take the weight off, but they're only designed for short term. I had to find something that was long term to keep myself going, to basically, because I knew I had over 300. I still do. I have over 300 pounds that I've got to get off of my body. And that is not going to happen overnight. So what I had to do is I had to adjust my thinking, and I had to adjust my life to reflect that goal of losing, somewhere in the range of between 300 and 350 pounds is what I have to take off. I still have a long ways to go, but I'm cruising along. But I had to come up with a weight loss journey or a plan that fit that I could stick with. Not lie to myself, say, yeah, it's no problem, I can do this, and then a week later I zonk out and I chuck the whole thing out the window. I had to actually find a plan that worked. And the thing was, is all I did was basically, I took about 2 or 3 of the different weight loss, the diets that I was on prior to this, and I just took the best things out of those, and I just incorporated it into my new weight loss journey, and that's all I did. And this is it's working for me. I've been able to stick with it. I don't lie to myself saying, yeah, it's no problem, I'll stick with it, and then a week later I'm off. I am 22 months into my journey, guys. So to me, that's huge. So I found a plan that I could stick with. Another one there, basically, that I think is, and my family's going to yell at me for this one here, especially one of them. She's going to yell at me when she hears this one here. But think and talk positively. Okay, go ahead and scream. I know you're screaming at me through the speaker. But this is huge. And I had a lot, and I still do. I have a lot of negative self-talk. And I'm better at it. I'm probably 75-80% better at it. But I'm not 100% at it, and I still struggle with it. But I got to tell you, when you start thinking and talking positively, that goes a long ways with keeping you motivated. It helps your willpower, because it's like, oh, I can walk past that because guess what? I bought myself a new shirt today. That's positively. I gave myself a compliment, and I can walk by those cookies, or I can walk by those brownies. Or I know I am going to lose those 2 extra pounds this week that I set my goals for. Thinking anything positive, looking at yourself in the mirror, hey, you look good today, you have a nice smile. Or let's tell a joke and help somebody out today. Being positive about this makes a huge, huge difference. And I know my family's yelling at their speakers right now for me saying this, because they say, Sean, listen to your own information. and they're right. They're absolutely right. I agree with them 100%. But thinking and talking positively is huge. The next thing that I come up with is all part of the goals, is make a commitment. Stick to it, and don't allow yourself to give up. Don't allow yourself to fail. That's why you have to set small goals in the beginning and keep the small goals all the way to the end. There's nothing wrong with that, because if that's what helps keep you on track and keep you moving in the right direction, absolutely, then do it. You have to do what works for you. That's all I can say. Is that's what I had to do for me, is I had to find a plan that worked for me. So I made my own plan. I just basically took 2 or 3, 4 plans all together, and I took the best parts that I know I could stick with in those plans, and I melded them into what I'm doing today. And obviously it's working. And I'm hoping maybe some information that I have for you is going to help you. But staying committed to the plan and not allowing yourself to give up. Hold yourself accountable. Like I said many times, you have to hold yourself accountable to anything that you do, anything that you eat, anything that you think. You have to account for that, and that's staying committed to the whole plan will help you out so much. Another thing that I come up with is plan ahead for setbacks and or challenges, however you want to look at it there. You're going to have up and down days. You're going to have days where you're going to stumble. You have to account for that, and you have to give yourself a break for that. I can't stress that enough. You're going to have days where you just either ate too much, or you ate the wrong thing, or you had a stressful day, and you dug into to the chips a little harder than what you should have, or you had some pasta. Whatever the thing is that pushed you up in your calories. You have to plan for setbacks. That's just really what it comes down to. You're not going to be able to be 100% at this weight loss journey every day. I'm not, but I am still down over 220 pounds. I have ups on certain days. I'm not going to lie to you, and I just have to plan around it. So I know that if I ups a daisy and go too heavy on calories by 200-300 calories one day, I just have to budget for that next and spread that over the next couple days. Maybe have 100 or 150 calories less or whatever, without putting everything in jeopardy and without going so hungry then all of a sudden that I'm going to eat a bunch more again. So plan ahead for that, and just know you're going to have rough days. You're going to have setbacks. Just plan for it. So if you know that ahead of time, you can build in for it, and you can adjust. Remember, you're going to be constantly adjusting through your whole weight loss journey. You know, I am constantly making changes to mine, so that way I don't do this or I don't do that, or if I have an up day or a down day or whatever it is, I just know that I have to plan for it and I have to adjust for it. And as long as you can do that and you have the ability to change and adapt, your willpower goes way up. Your determination goes way up. It's incredible what you can do as long as you have the ability to change and cope with the situation. So just know you're going to have setbacks. I mean, just plan on it. And if the last thing that I'm going to bring up here, because I'm noticing that I'm going to run over in time here, get professional help if you have to. Remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not, you know, a gym person. I'm not smart. I don't have a diploma hanging on the wall. I am just a man that works 40 hours a week, and I have a family to take care of and a puppy to take care of, and I'm just doing this on my own. All of this information in my podcast is just that. It's information. It's not recommendations. It's just information to try to help you make the best decisions you can and try to take the weight off yourself. That's all I'm doing this for. Is you guys are my extended family, but sometimes talking to somebody professional that has the training, they went to school, they're way more smarter than I am. Remember, I've just learned everything through the School of Hard Knocks. I haven't actually gone to an official school. I am not smart. I'm not intelligent. I don't have a piece of paper on the wall saying I'm smart. Nothing like this. This is just all just information. That's it. But sometimes you have to talk to somebody, and it could be a doctor, it could be a psychologist, it could be a therapist, it could be a dietitian. Those guys know what they're doing. They went to school, they were trained for it, and you know, if I'm going to recommend anything, getting professional help is not a weakness. That is a good thing. It shows the strength and your determination and your resolve by wanting to stick with this. And if you're willing to go out and get help for it, that just means you're strong. You're incredible. You're going to get through it one way or another, and you're going to make the best of it. So, okay, well, I'm noticing by the time on the wall here and stuff that I am out of time. As always, I'm way over again. But I just want to tell you, you got this. I believe in you so that you can believe in yourself also. Remember to keep the positive thoughts going as much as you absolutely can. It goes a long ways for helping out your weight loss journey. So I'm going to end the podcast now with the typical dad joke of the day. Wow, did I mess that one up? Dad joke of the day. I guess I can't talk anymore. So if you're ready to roll your eyes and start groaning, here's the joke. Do you know why eggs do not tell jokes? Because they would crack each other up. I love it. Then I got hungry for omelet. I know that's probably bad, but I did. Thanks so much for listening, you guys. You're amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, for subscribing to my YouTube page. Everything that you're doing to help support me, I appreciate it. And as always, all my love and support